I'm Joe Bev, and this is the Joe Bev Show. This time on the Joe Bev Show, Uncle Dunkle Fable Prequels, The Big Wind and Helpful the Dwarf, Yogi Bear and Boo Boo in The Three Berry Bears, The Muffin Man and Ursula Pop the Question by Daws Butler, and yours truly, Johnny Dollar, visits Duffy's Tavern in the Where the Elite Meet to Eat matter. That's coming up on the Joe Bev Show.
The wind is really blowing up a storm today, Uncle Dunkle. It's snuggy to be indoors where it's nice and warm.
You think this is a wind? I guess you never heard about the big wind.
The big wind?
Well, it happened a long time ago. A little fella, kind of like you, was out flying his kite, 'cause the wind was high and the air was clear. His kite was way up in the clouds, and it was most truly a kite flyer's kind of day. Barnstormer.
That was the little boy's name.
No, it was the kite's name.
He called his kite Barnstormer?
Yep, Barnstormer Pfaff. That was the kite's name. Now, I'm sure you'll agree that Cadwallader or Demetrius would have been downright silly names.
And pretty silly names for a kite, But Uncle Dunkle, I just never heard of a kite having a name.
Well, you have now. The little boy's name was Eddie. The wind lifted his kite,
Barnstormer
Pfaff, higher and higher until finally it lifted Eddie clear up off the ground. And soon he was way over the trees, sailing free as a bird. This was exciting, and Eddie was enjoying it until he realized that eventually he'd have to come down and, where would that be?
And where would that be, Uncle Dunkle?
Well, as it turned out, it was on top of a mountain, way up there. So, after putting Eddie down, the kite, Barnstormer
Pfaff.
Oh, yeah. Well, he soared away for further adventures, and Eddie began to wander about. But he'd never been this high on a mountain before, and soon he realized that he was lost, good and lost. he wandered every which way, aimlessly, just to keep on doing something so he wouldn't be scared, you know.
I'd be scared.
So would I. Well, before long, but you'd be more scared than I would be, you see. Before long, maybe I'd be more scared than you. I don't know. Well, before long he came to a pine forest. He entered it slowly, looking all around. He was frightened, and night was coming on.
I'd hate to be in his shoes.
Well, he was barefoot, actually. Suddenly, he heard a voice, a gruff voice. It cautioned him not to be afraid, that he was a friend. The boy looked behind him, and there was a big bear.
Cool it. Hey, you look all uptight. I won't hurt you. Bears in stories never hurt you. But in real life, in Yellowstone Park, for instance, oh, I wouldn't trust one of us bears for 2 consecutive seconds.
You mean this is a dream?
No, this isn't a dream. This is real life. But it's story real life, not real life real life. You know what I mean?
That's kind of confusing.
You come with me for the night. I'll take care of you. And then in the morning, I'll walk you home. Besides, I want you to meet my wife and son. They're real folks.
So Eddie went along with the big bear, and they went to the big bear's house. Once inside, by a warming fire, he met Mrs. Bear and Sonny, the little bear.
Come on, Eddie. I'll show you around. See, here's our towels. They're marked his, hers, and who else? Hey, do you like honey? Honey? Sure. My pop and I love honey, but Mom uses saccharin. She's trying to knock off about 300 pounds. Wants to trim down to a neat 650 pounds. Hey, you want to know something? I'm getting sleepy. Let's you and me turn in, huh? Come on, you can wear a pair of my sleepers.
So Eddie and Sonny went to sleep. The next morning, Eddie was up bright and early, anxious to get started toward home in the valley. Mama Bear insisted that he should have a good breakfast first, so she fixed some porridge. But Eddie, impatient to get started, said the porridge would be too hot and he didn't want to wait. So the bears decided to take him home at once, so he could have breakfast with his folks. Papa Bear said,
By the time we get back, the porridge will be cool enough to eat.
So they started off. As they neared the foothills, close to the valley floor, a little girl passed them.
Hi, Eddie. Hello, Goldilocks.
The little girl continued up the path. Little Sonny Bear was quite excited, as he'd never seen a little girl this close before. But Papa Bear said,
Take a look. Take a real good look, Sonny. You'll never see her again.
And the 3 bears and Eddie continued down the path, as Goldilocks went up the path toward the home of the 3 bears. Johnny,
Yeah?
did you help your Aunt Rapunzel with the dishes tonight?
Uh-huh. Just like always.
Why the long face?
Well, I really don't much like washing dishes, Uncle Dunkle. But I figure if it eases Aunt Rapunzel's workload, then, well, what the hey?
What the hey, indeed.
Only,
Only what?
she usually gives me a couple of cookies for helping out.
And tonight she didn't.
Nope.
Maybe she didn't bake any.
I know she did, 'cause I took the liberty of helping her bake 'em without even being asked.
Oh, well, you wouldn't have wanted any of those anyway.
Why not?
'Cause those were ketchup and onion cookies.
They were not.
Well, they were some kind of cookies.
They were gingerbread cookies. My favorite.
Well, anyway, were they really gingerbread cookies? Donnie, you can't expect... I like gingerbread cookies a lot, too. Donnie, you should never... of course, I don't like 'em as much as you do, you see. You shouldn't ever... maybe I like 'em more than you. I don't know. Anyway, my point is, it's not a good idea to expect a reward every time you do something nice for someone. It's kind of like jumping in a lake and expecting the fishes to hold you up. I knew this magical dwarf once.
You knew a magical dwarf?
Yep. Well, a long time ago I did.
Did he like gingerbread cookies?
I never asked. Anyway, I wonder if he... never mind. This dwarf's name was Helpful. Know why?
'Cause he was helpful?
Right. Who says you're dumb? Now, Donnie, old Helpful lived in a small wooden cottage in an enchanted forest and...
Uncle Dunkle.
Yes, Donnie?
Who says I'm dumb?
Nobody.
Oh, then why did you say it?
It's just a figure of speech. It means, boy, are you smart.
I'll accept that.
Anyway, every day Helpful would get up at the crack of dawn and work all day in the nearby diamond mine. 10, 12 hours sometimes.
Why?
Because he was all alone, and he was doing the work of 7 or 8 of his kind.
Didn't he have any help?
Well, he had a whole mess of brothers who could have helped. They owned the mine, but, they lived far away in another enchanted forest.
There's more than one?
Dozens. And his brothers were all too lazy to make the trek over to help him with his mining chores. And magical dwarf work laws weren't as strict as they are now. So poor Helpful mined those diamonds every day while his brothers just sat back and reaped the rewards of his labors. Helpful really didn't mind mining all by himself, but he did wish that someday his brothers would realize how hard he worked, or at least thank him. Well, one day there was a knock at Helpful's door.
Hey, little brother, how's it going? Long time and all that jazz.
Who are you?
Hey, man, I'm like your brother. You dig?
Well, I dig in the mines, if that's what you mean.
No, man. Like we're related. Like I am you and you are me, and we are all together.
I have not seen any of my brothers in many, many years.
And like you forgot me already? For shame, man, for shame.
Well, I guess you're my brother, or else you wouldn't be here.
Hey, hard logic to fight. Now, you don't mind if I, move in with you, man. I gotta get away, man. Like there's this evil queen who's after me, and I need a real safe hideout. You dig?
Well, in the mines I do.
So, can I move in, clean up, and chow down?
Yes, you may stay.
Thanks, man. You're a dwarf and a half.
So Helpful's brother stayed. But still, he did no work. Poor Helpful mined all day, and when he got home at night, it was always the same.
Hey, Helpful man, why don't you, darn my socks for me while you're waiting for that stew to brew?
Or,
hey, Helpful man, my bed ain't made, man. How am I supposed to get my beauty rest, baby?
Or,
hey, Helpful man, when you gonna dust these stairs? There's enough dirt on these things, man, to support plant life.
And all the while, Helpful just thought to himself,
someday he'll thank me.
But he never did, Donnie. Well, one day, months later, another knock came at the door.
Hey, little brother, how's it going? Long time and all that jazz.
Who are you?
Hey, man, I'm your brother. You dig?
Well, I dig in the mines, if that's what you mean.
You guessed it, another brother moved in with Helpful. Now he had 2 freeloaders living with him. Things went just about the same, only double, of course. But worse was to come. About every few months, another dwarf brother would show up at Helpful's doorstep, begging to stay there and hide from the mean old queen. Now the situation was really bad.
7 brothers all giving orders to one helpless helpful.
Hey, helpful man, how about washing my shirts, man? Hey, helpful man, where's my teeth type brush? Hey, helpful man, I sure am getting hungry, you dig? Forget the food, man. I'm like really thirsty. Bring me the grub first, man. After my drink, of course. But what about donning my socks, man?
Forget him, helpful. Give me a bath, baby.
Well, Helpful went on like this, waiting on his brothers for a time. But soon he became very tired, and one day he sat down to rest in the diamond mine, and he began to think.
Why do I help all my brothers when they only take advantage of me? I was always taught to be kind to others, and to do whatever I can to help them. But I'm tired, and none of them ever help me out at all.
Then, suddenly, he thought of the answer.
Maybe by doing all their work for them, why, I haven't really been helping them at all. Yeah, if I really want to help my brothers, I should go away from here, and then they will have to learn to work the diamond mine, or starve. I hope they choose working over starving.
So Helpful packed up his stuff and moved away. Far, far away. Eventually, when money started to get low, his 7 brothers had to start working in the diamond mine. They also figured out that if they all worked at the same time, they wouldn't have to work as hard, and they could get more done, and faster too. Helpful had helped them learn one good lesson. However, with Helpful gone, they never cleaned the house, or themselves. They never ate properly, and always had holes in their socks. Of course, eventually, they learned how to be clean and healthy, too.
Who taught him that, Uncle Dunkle?
Well, you see, Donnie, about a week after Helpful left, a beautiful young girl moved in with the 7 dwarves. Her name was Snow White.
Once upon a time, there were 3 bears.
How do you know?
They just were. Papa, Mama, and Baby Bear. They lived in a house in the woods.
Whose house?
Their house, of course.
Bears don't live in houses. They live in caves.
Well then, it was a cave.
Cave. I'll accept cave.
One morning, Mama Bear made some porridge.
Hold on, not so fast there. Bears can't cook.
Well, this one could.
And bears don't eat porridge. Berries. They eat berries.
Okay. The mama bear fixed up a bowl of berries. Then she said, "These berries are too hot. Let's go for a walk in the woods till they cool off."
How'd the berries get hot?
They were on the stove.
What stove?
The bear stove.
Bears don't have
So they went for a walk, and a little girl came up to their house.
cave.
A cave, and her name was Goldilocks.
That's not a name.
Well, it was her name, and
What was her real name? Mary? Louise? Hafuzabah? What?
her name was, I'll just call her the little girl, okay?
Okay.
She ate some of Papa Bear's berries and said, "Oh, these berries are too hot."
How'd they get hot?
Never mind. Then she tried Mama's berries, and they were too cold.
Were they in the refrigerator?
Then she tried the baby bear's berries, and they were just right. And she ate them all up.
That's stealing. They weren't her berries. They could have put her in the pokey for that.
Well, they didn't. Then she broke the baby bear's chair.
Bears don't sit on chairs.
Okay, she didn't break the baby bear's chair. She went to sleep on his bed.
A pile of old leaves, huh?
Yeah. Then the bears came home from their walk, and they found what Goldilocks had done.
Who?
The little girl and,
And they ate her all up.
right, they ate her all up.
That's a good story. Good night.
Yogi Bear and Boo Boo on The Joe Bev Show. I'm Joe Bev. Coming up, The Muffin Man and Ursula Pop the Question by Daws Butler on The Joe Bev Show. Toasted!
You didn't say.
I did say. I said, I want an English muffin toasted. Who can eat an English muffin when it isn't toasted? Unbuttered, yes. Untoasted, no.
A slight misunderstanding. Certainly not worth the serious overtones you're giving to it.
It's like putting on a wet bathing suit. You can do it, but it's not a memorable experience.
I'll toast the muffin.
Too late. The moment I'd set aside for my meager breakfast is gone.
So what will you do? Where will you go? Over what horizon will you again see the golden arches? Think well on this denial. Deny yourself the pulsating energy of an English muffin, toasted or not, and you will feel the sudden frightening weakness of hunger. As for the 100th time, under the honest sweat of toil, your chisel approaches the turning shaft of wood.
Sit down. People are looking at you. Pretend you're with me.
I am with you.
On an impersonal basis only. Keep your voice down.
The razor-sharp bevel of the blade bites deep into the tapered chair leg you are turning, and in that programmed moment that is kept in a tiny inconspicuous box and then thrown among the rubble of your future, so you're never once aware of its existence. And in that moment, the chuck releases its load, and you feel the piercing shaft of wood enter your skull. A sudden, silent shriek of prismatic light, and then...
And then?
And then... quiet. Blackness. There is no pain. Only oblivion.
Only? You got a point. Toast the muffin. Today, nobody worries about another human being. They mouth the words, how are you? Why? They don't care how are you.
It's a cliche.
It's words. A commitment to the mundane. When you go to bed at night, tired, discouraged, with a sneak preview of what your mouth's gonna taste like in the morning.
I'll go toast the muffin.
Wait a minute! A great hand comes down, and it waits till you've turned yourself over on your stomach.
Like deja vu. This happened to me.
Then it winds you up, this key on your back.
Like a doll. Then you're good for another day.
Like a doll is exactly right. Another day, I don't know.
So maybe what you're trying to tell me in your simple, direct way is to strap yourself in on your back so you can be your own person and handle your own destiny. If you don't feel like getting up some morning, if you decide to sleep in for eternity.
What are you talking about? Here I'm giving you allegory I don't even understand, and you're giving me a facetious rejoinder. You gave me a chill just then.
You're the first person I ever heard say rejoinder. But deep down, I feel the same as you. I got an idea what you're talking about. I don't want you to deny yourself even a tiny pleasure.
The muffin?
The muffin. Tiny compared to the great, much heralded pleasures of the flesh. So what am I going to do for you? As a concerned fellow human being, I'll toast your muffin for you.
And I'll eat it. And if another coffee is free, I'll dunk it.
You'll dunk an English muffin?
So tell the English? Hey, wait a minute. A question. Why do you think I was a wood turner? I'm into plastic replicas.
I speak in allegory also.
Well, you scared the hell out of me. You know, this is what you'd call a heavy breakfast.
Yeah.